And happy October 10th. First of all, I have been struck now by the same bug that everybody else who's been trying to live stream has been struck by. So a couple things going here this morning. First of all, can you hear me? Let me know in the comments. I'm looking at a different screen today. I just must have been like in some sort of a weird update lag for YouTube. They must have like rolled it out. But I had to change the way that I was live streaming this morning. So does it sound okay? That's one thing. Is there any weird background noises or anything like that? So just want to know. I want to thank everybody for being here. I really do appreciate you. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you're interested in the channel. I also want to thank Lenovo right up there for providing this this PC that we use to stream. I've also got the audio this morning. Oh yeah, so Mac Telecom Networks. Last week you had asked me about the streaming thing, and as of last week, it hadn't affected me. And I went to live stream today, and here we are. So it's totally good. So I've also got the sound going through the Zoom V3 vocal processor. So I also can't hear myself, but if I turn the effect on,
does my voice change? I don't know, because I can't hear it. I just want to know if it's working kind of like in real time.
So let me know if it did change that. Hope everybody is doing well this morning. We had a little thing this week. Schedule kind of got moved around. I got a call earlier in the week from the school. Kid was having, a symptom, so had to go pick up all the kids from school and do that whole thing. So Thursday we started getting back on track, but still a couple days off. But let me turn this up just a little bit for Silas. How's that, Silas? Might be because the audio has to go upside down to get to you. That was just a joke, by the way. An Australian joke. Let's see here. So, in the world of things, you can see what we've got going on here. I want to talk about Netool Pro. If you don't know, if you haven't watched the channel and you don't know what Netool is, it is literally a pocket-sized Ethernet analyzer. And there is a Pro version now. And what the Pro version does is it allows you to do some like network automation. So you can script configurations and things like that. And so Oliver Quinn asks, real quick before we get back to Netool, Oliver asked or says, business is slow. Any tips for getting networking consultant jobs during the pandemic? Just keep plugging away. Find something that you're really good at and market yourself with that. And word of mouth has actually been huge for us. And let's kind of talk about that. So since the beginning of the pandemic, and I have this conversation about 2 to 3, 4 times a week, we've actually ripped out more Ubiquity equipment than we've installed. And it's not because of us. It's not like we're out there saying, hey, this stuff, tear it all out now. But it's a result of the QA at Ubiquity falling apart. It's a result of people needing to work remotely and do it efficiently. And so we have literally torn out more. I mean, we had UDM Pros that you put 3 people on an IPsec, VPN, and the whole box would become unstable, and we would rip those out. We replaced a lot, and I don't know if James is doing something for me, he might be listening to the live stream, expecting him to hop in here, but we've replaced more Ubiquity gear with GrandStream and Synology and OpenSense this year than we installed all of last year. So it's been really strange. But I also don't know what is going on over at Ubiquity. There's no real public information. They have basically anonymized the they've basically anonymized the forums, right? So it used to be back in the day we would get a support engineer in the forum. You would know them, you could communicate with them, you know, and then something happened. A bunch of engineers appeared to no longer be there. They had one guy who was a forum member, and basically all he did was ask you to attach logs. No real troubleshooting or anything like that. He was literally just a log fetcher as far as I can tell. And then now what they've done is they have changed that, where you don't see his handle anymore. It's these generic Ubiquity handles. And then they also changed the forum so you can no longer tag Robert Para, the CEO of Ubiquity. He can no longer be tagged in new postings. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on over there. Go over there, check it out, check out the complaints, but check out the good stuff. You know, we're not saying to run away from a vendor or whatever, but there's definitely some QA stuff happening over there that we can't explain. And, you know, people who don't want to tinker with their stuff, who just want it to work, we're tearing out a ton of it. So, and Unify is not really a clean platform. There are a lot of little bugs and stuff like that. You can ignore them. You can work around them. You don't have to have them. I mean, there's a lot of like unfinished ends within the software and everything else. And Oliver, you're right. We could work around that. But people don't want to have to work around all that, right? They just want their stuff to work. You know, we really started pushing the Grandstream routers for voice and things like that because of how easy they make it to do remote telephony. But even they had a bug. They had a PPPoE bug and a bug that limited your speed if you had gigabit internet on the WAN interface. So, I mean, we even waited for them to really fix that before we, you know, went full send pushing that. But yeah, so people should expect more from Ubiquity. Their prices are going up. You know, it's there's some things there. And yeah, the RV340 router from Cisco, I have installed 2 of those, and they're good kit. We installed probably 6 months ago. I installed one for a customer, and I've had one follow-up meeting, and his network is Cisco Small Business from end to end. I mean, we did this whole comparison of pricing, and I think I've talked about this before, and he ended up going with the Cisco Small Business, and as far as I can tell, he's had no regrets. So it's very interesting. Oh yeah, and the Allied Telesys. I know SatVision is working dutifully to try to get them to send us some gear, but if they don't, that's fine. So back to Netool. So let me hop over to our web view here. So I don't know if Nathan is on here this morning or not. I'll have to hop back to the comments here in a minute. But what you can do is you can do custom if-then templates. You can still do the PCAP capture, but you can literally take some of these switches that are unconfigured. You can have a template. You can plug it in. This thing will like configure it. So the other thing that happened was I made an introduction with Nathan, the owner, creator of Netool, and Ben over at Leader Systems in Australia. And now Leader Systems is the exclusive distributor for Netool in Australia. So if you're in Australia, you can get a hold of Leader or whoever your reseller is through Leader. I'm not sure how many units they've shipped. I know that there was just a big story on it, but I want to congratulate Nathan for being able to take that and see it through to the end and form that relationship. So that is awesome, and wish them luck in that endeavor. So we are going to be doing some videos on this, and we're going to be doing some giveaways. It's my schedule has just been very non-cooperative when it comes to getting content out and things like that. And you can see actually my subscribership is actually suffering because of that. So, but I'm trying to free up some time to get some content made so I can make sure that that content is being published on a regular schedule. Because if you don't, you actually see on YouTube how, you know, your subscribers start to go down, your views start to go down. I'm not monetized anyway right now. And I don't know if they will ever give it back to me, but you know, it's very interesting to see how all that works with the algorithm and all that good stuff. And you all don't want to see that portion of the screen there, but yeah, we'll be checking out the Netool. Nathan sent 3 over to give away. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And I've got a bunch of little swag bags and stuff to give away. That we're going to be putting together. Okay, so mark your calendars. Quick Tech Solutions. Tony with Quick Tech is here. I haven't seen Joe on the East Coast or Joe from Texas, Unky Joe, hop on yet. But mark your calendars. And Tony, remind me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe it's going to be November 14th at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Central Time, we are going to be doing a 4-way live stream. So we're going to be live streaming. There's going to be 4 of us. We're all going to be talking about who knows what. We've just started emailing about this, trying to figure out like what our topics are going to be. And it's going to be Tony with Quick Tech. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. His video creation skills, like his actual like content creation skills are like off the charts. So go check that out. If you haven't checked out Cajoling Technologies, go check out Joe Trelli over there. He's an AWS guy. He's got good AWS. If you're looking for AWS certifications, he's got videos talking about that. He talks about Blue Iris over there. And then, of course, if you don't know Unky Joe, go check out Unky Joe's channel. But we're going to do a simultaneous 4-way stream. So we'll be streaming to all of our channels. And I think there's going to be some giveaways on that live stream. So be sure to mark your calendars, November 14th. And we'll all start putting out content or little reminders on our social media outlets about November 14th, 9 a.m. Central Time is going to be that 4-way live stream. Yeah, and Sean says that the last video from Unky Joe about the UDM Pro had him chuckling. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I got about 30 seconds into it and had to switch gears on something else. But I definitely want to check that out. So everybody seems to have very strong opinions about that. So check out, just keep an eye on the channel. I know I say videos come and stuff like that, but like I said, schedule gets messed up. And for me, taking the channel and spreading the knowledge for free is super important. But then those folks that use me for consulting, I take care of those folks. Those, we got to look at priorities and how that all pans out. So due to my schedule and priorities, and sometimes the content just doesn't get there, so I've got to get a bunch of them built up, get it in the tank, and then be able to release it for everybody. But this new live stream thing is really taking me for a loop here. So if you see me like dodging my eyes, looking around and stuff like that, I'm just trying to figure it out. It's totally new for me. And so now I know like what Tom was talking about when he had some issues the other day with a live stream. And so I actually I've got my laptop over here, and I thought I would need it to watch the comments like I usually do, because I don't like to surf the web on the streaming PC. I want to kind of keep this thing as clutter-free as possible. But it is actually better for me, I guess, to do it this way on the streaming PC. So did everybody watch the Zoom V3? That was just a fun video. I needed to get a video out, and I wanted to get a video out, and I really enjoy this device. So it's got some really, really cool stuff. Like
if I switch over to this, and I can't hear myself, so I don't know exactly what's happening right now. So you're all gonna have to tell me in the comments. But I think at some point I will figure out how completely to use this device, and then things
will be much better. And Joe over at Cajoling's probably shaking his head going, man, he's totally lost it. But all right, NSG asked, hey, do you recommend a ThinkPad? I love ThinkPads. They are great computers in my opinion. Now, I don't know anything about the E15 Gen 2. The last ThinkPad that I bought came from eBay. I got a D&G when I got it here, and then a fresh install of Windows 10. And it's a great machine. So, and I only paid like $180 for it or something like that. So, and my email's coming in now and this, so I'm sorry, I'm just a little preoccupied. All right, so let's talk about Synology Dsm-7. Now, I am not allowed to show you Dsm-7, but I am not barred from talking about it. And so what I have heard is that, so I am in the preview program. I petitioned heavily to get into the preview program because I really wanted to see what was going on under the hood, because you know, Synology is a very key part of everything that I do, no matter where I'm at. Like, Synology is like one of the main things that I focus on. And I had heard it was going to be fast. You know, you read all these things and you watch this. So if you go out to the Synology event here, you can take a look at what they're talking about. I want to tell you that, let's see, is there a preview program? Wait a minute. What is this? Oh, preview program. Register, wait for notification, install and test, download now. What happens when we do that? So if you are accepted into it, you have a special link to download here. I'm not allowed to show it to you, but I'm going to tell you this. And there are some other people probably on the live stream who may have seen it. You would not believe how fast Dsm-7 really is. It is lightning fast. Even on a single disc, older device, it is super, super fast. And I think everybody is going to be like literally like blown away by Dsm-7, right? So I would, if I was interested in looking at Dsm-7, excuse me, I would probably be on the lookout around December maybe for a public beta. Don't take my word for that, but watch the Synology website, watch their YouTube channel, because they will release that information. So, all right, let's go over to the comments real quick. The Google Pixel 5 doesn't have Wi-Fi 6. Oliver, I was actually looking at the specs because I was thinking about going from my Pixel 3. Is this the 3 or the 4? I can't remember. I bought it last year. But I was thinking about upgrading to the 5, and when I couldn't find Wi-Fi 6, I was like, nah, I think I'm going to hold off, because my wife has the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and she has Wi-Fi 6. So it'll be very, very interesting to see. I don't think that that's going to impact this, you know, the amount of sales that they make for that device, because I think a lot of people that use this as their main, you know, their main communication device, whether it's for email or social media or whatever. I don't know that they're so hot on Wi-Fi 6 as they are hot on 5G, right? So I think that might be more of the selling point than Wi-Fi 6. For folks like us, it's Wi-Fi 6 is a huge selling point, right? So, all right, back to the comments real quick. Oliver Quinn asks, what type of PBX would you recommend for a pizza delivery restaurant? Currently only 2 lines. Oliver, can you, in the comments, please let me know how many handsets they have, and, you know, any other types of requirements like loud ringers, cordless phones, all that stuff. Put that in there, and we'll talk through that and see. By the way, that little icon, that little pizza icon, is making me hungry. It's very interesting. But, all right, let's see here. Dave Robertson says, Grandstream UCM and GRP phones, how to get phones to dial out as soon as it gets 10 digits. You're going to have to look at your dial patterns, so and your outbound routes and things like that, Dave. Or you're going to have to wait the 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it is when you quit pressing keys if you don't look at that. So, Oliver, let me ask you this, Oliver. So the pizza delivery restaurant has 2 lines. Are they POTS lines right now? Or, and what kind of, do they have a system currently? And then what types of features are they looking for? Are they looking for like queuing? Are they looking for, you know, being able to put people on hold? You know, like what kind of things are you looking for? Because that makes a difference in what, you know, we're probably going to recommend. So answer those, please, Oliver, in the comments there. So, and speaking of, I do have and James is actually finishing up the time scheduling on GrandStream UCM 6204 right now, and I've got to go to UPS and get it shipped out. It's 6 handsets, but it's going to actually plug into a much larger system, site-to-site dialing and like 4-digit dialing, things like that. Oliver says 2 corded phones. Just wanted to have an auto answer queue. It's legacy AT&T. I guess that's POTS. Probably is POTS lines, Oliver. So I would say that if you're looking to do this now, and you're only going to have 2 lines, but who knows what's going to happen in the future, I would probably put a GrandStream. Well, now this also depends. Are you looking to move over to VoIP, or are you going to keep that AT&T legacy service? Let me know that in the comments. And while Oliver answers that, I actually need to step out just to the door. I need to grab the Wi-Fi 6 thing we're going to talk about and grab one other thing that I didn't put in the title. Please talk amongst yourselves real quick. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up. I will be right back. All right. Should we talk about Unify Access? So everybody else is doing their videos on Unify Access. I still have it here. I'm waiting on a couple pieces. And then after I ordered the pieces, I'm like, do I even really want to hook this thing up and get into the ecosystem? I appreciate them sending it out, but I'm really confused as to why they got into this market segment. I'm really confused why they don't concentrate on getting their core competency, the wireless and the route switch, where it needs to be to compete in the market. And I don't know, maybe I'm just going to give this thing away. So we'll see. Hey, Unky Joe is in the house. He's got his coffee in hand. Excuse me, I need some more coffee. Let's see. All right, let's see. Yeah, and people are saying, I agree, they need to make their switches and Wi-Fi compete. They are, I don't know what's going on over there. So, yeah, I had a cup of coffee, and, do you guys want to see our new mascot? Let me send a Snapchat here real quick, and I will have my son bring our new mascot for the channel down here. I also enabled gesture mode on, so my Pixel upgraded to Android 11, and my screenshot functionality went away, and I couldn't figure it out, and I take a lot of screenshots, and turns out you have to turn on gesture mode to get that back, but I had to dig through a couple forum things to figure that out, and I'm gonna have him bring let's see here. Hey, can you bring Nix down here real quick, please? ? I just want to show her off a little bit. Thanks. So we'll have William bring Nix down. And James, I don't know if you're listening to the live stream, but yes, do the holidays as well, please, and I'll respond here. So this text, speech to text has made me I don't know what it's made me, but I'm enjoying it very much. I don't know if you all enjoy speech to text, even though it makes some mistakes. Yes, please do the holidays. And so, I don't know, very interesting. So you're seeing how we kind of take care of business too. All right, back to the comments real quick before we talk about these other 2 things that I drug in here. And, okay, so back to the comments. Any news for next-gen Synology routers with VLANs and other good stuff? So what I've heard, released the 01, which I'm trying to figure out what that really means, but what I've heard on the Synology front is that we are supposed to get VLANs and inter-VLAN routing in the current hardware. Now, that RTC 2600AC is actually a really nice router, really nice router. And so they just need to add some of those. So yeah, Cajoling Tech says the Tech Quartet is in the house. That's what we're unofficially calling ourselves, unless somebody in the group doesn't like that. But right now we're calling ourselves the Tech Quartet, and Joe Trelli over at Cajoling kind of made that up. And so I think the live stream will probably have Tech Quartet in the house. Tony is probably the best singer of all of us, so we'll have to let him, take the lead. All right, so real quick, let's go back to Oliver's stuff. Grandstream seems the easiest system for setup, but the upfront cost is making the owner want to use a subscription service voice over IP. So that is go back and look, Oliver. I have a video that talks about the return on investment and how you can make that decision. So anytime that somebody comes to us for VoIP, that's what we do. We ask for a copy of their phone bill. We look at everything involved. We think about the maintenance, what it takes us to set it up, and we build out an ROI for them. So it shows how much money up front they have to invest in an on-site PBX, and then how many months it takes to break even, and then how much savings we have after that. So it's... and David said that's where you introduce that. So I will tell you that even on a two-line system, if we switch you to VoIP, we are very, and we use Telnex. We don't use VoIP.ms. I mean, we've got a couple customers on that, but Telnex is the big provider that we use. But when we switch people over, I mean, I have 100 handset systems, and James can back me up on this. We've got 100 plus handset systems, and the ROI is a year, right? So it's like it's being returned very, very quickly. And and I will tell you, we are super competitive in the market. When you look at voice over IP deployments, we will not be beat if we can avoid it. And we don't do anything to hook you in monthly, anything like that. We are going to start offering a monthly service where we will make sure your firmware stays up to date and there's any security issues. But it's not like that's like our main marketing focus. It's a real tough thing for me to wrap my head around, trying to get people, or even feeling good about people paying me monthly for things like that. I have to make sure that if that's going to happen, that I am comfortable that we are providing enough value for the dollars that are going to be paid. So probably what I would do, Oliver, is I would probably go with a UCM 6202, and I would probably let's take a look at the handsets here real quick. Let me pull up Grandstream's website. And let's hop over here real quick. And if it's just a pizza place, now it depends. You can wow the owner by getting a handset that you can put the logo on there. May not be necessary. If it's just two lines, we could probably go with a basic IP phone, something like the GXP 1615 or the 1625. Now, you want to make sure probably that you get the PoE, but PoE may not matter to you, but we prefer to do everything with PoE when available. But you could just get one of these two-line systems, two-line phones. In fact, do I have one of these? I do. Hold on. Look at these phones. Let me grab this other one. I'll be right back. All right, so this right here, this is the GXP 1625, and for the longest time, this was the phone that I had in our living room. And this one has been beat up and taken outside and kind of tortured a little bit, and the kids were tough on it too. I don't know if you can see, looks like they got some stuff on it, but this is the 1625. And it worked really well, because all that we needed was for the kids to be able to answer the phone. I mean, look how jacked up this phone cord is. So one of my complaints about the Ubiquity phones is that the ones that I was given, you couldn't replace the handset cords on. And one of the Ubiquity super users, who's been around for a long time, says, that he's never replaced a handset cord. And I said, well, then you've never you've never deployed very many phones, because this is probably the #1 consumable, you know, that we get into, is this handset cord. So, but the 1625, it's just 2 lines. You just need to be able to answer the phone, put people on hold, or park. You know, we could configure a park key on there, and that's it. You could page. You could still do paging, phone to phone, things like that. So we can set up, it's got 3 soft keys that you can set up. So I would probably go with a UCM 6202, and then probably 2 of these, depending on your needs, if these will meet your needs. By the way, another thing that kills me, or it doesn't kill me, it slays me, I guess, is when you look at these handset cords, right? Very noticeably, one end is longer unfurled, right? Uncurled, right? And the one thing that cracks me up is when, this is my opinion, and this is probably, I'm thinking that this is right, but so the shorter end goes into the handset, okay? And of course, I'm going to have trouble with this while I'm on camera. Goes into the handset. Then the longer of the 2 goes into the phone. Why does the longer of the 2 go into the phone? Because there's this nice little channel right here that is cut out of the phone to lead that cord out. Or if they don't have these nice little channels, then the cord's going to come underneath the phone like that. And you have to have the longer one, right? So when we first started pushing GrandStream, I had this guy, and he's going to he may be on the live stream, but I'm not going to say his name because he was cracking me up. I didn't even really know how to respond to him. But what happened was he saw my video. He goes out, he buys a bunch of GrandStream phones. He calls me, and he starts yelling at me that these things are, you know, the system doesn't work and I can't make it work and it's garbage. And what he had done was he had forgot how to read English. And on the back of these, I don't know if you can see it or not, but one of these says headset and one of these says handset. And he had plugged all of the handsets into the headset. Pro tip, that doesn't work. So I'm sure that he definitely felt silly after that. I got a good laugh out of it. I still get a good laugh out of it. And yeah, so Telnex for us is where it's at because of how inexpensive it is and the features that they provide. The auto phone forwarding and failover doesn't cost us anything. I mean, we literally save people. We save people thousands of dollars a month in some cases. All right, so what I would do, Oliver, is I would do a 6202, and I would do probably 2 of these. And then for now, what I would do is I just plug it in, get our basic features up and going. And then what I would do is then talk to the owner about going to VoIP. And then what you could do is, I don't know, in a small shop like that, like if the owner works there or whatever, but what you can do with Telnex is you can set a failover number so that if your trunk goes down, it would forward to like a cell phone or something like that. And that you know, we do that all the time. All right, so let me scroll back up into the comments real quick before we get to some of these other things that I've got here. All right, Justin says, Willie, I got a 24-port Unify switch non-PoE stuck with a status of updating and is no longer able to be managed by the controller. Any thoughts before I factory reset and restore previous config? Justin, that's exactly what I would do. I would forget it out of the controller, and I would paper clip it, and I would start from scratch. And before I actually adopted it to the controller, I would SSH in with the default credentials, and I would do an update and pull the firmware directly from Ubiquity, get the latest firmware on it, then do an adoption. Unky Joe, where did your UDM Pro go? Can you tell us in the comments? All right. Lennox says, how can I get Synology Drive to work? USG firewalls to local. You're going to have to expand on that. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking there. Stephen J says, I know there are all sorts of issues with Unify 6, but do you know if the expanded or SSID limit is international intentional? I've not seen any documentation. So if you are not using some of the features, you can get 8 SSIDs if it's all has to do with the feature set that you're using. However, I don't recommend using 8 SSIDs. It's very resource intense on the access point. And I'm actually working with somebody else who were not using Ubiquity at all. We're using Cambium and Netgear and then OpenSense. That's our package for this person. And what's going to happen is they're going to have one SSID, and then we are doing Mac-based VLANs. And so we will have VLANs set up from OpenSense all the way to the switch, and then from the switch all the way to the access point. So basically a trunk all the way through, and then based on the MAC address that we put into the switch, then the between that device will be on the proper VLAN. And really this is a crucial piece there, but your access point needs to also allow you to do VLANs, and then of course you have to have VLANs on your router. So yeah, I haven't upgraded anything in production to Unify 6 yet. It's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit before I do that. Just being honest here. Let's see here. Yeah, Telnex has great pricing. Great pricing. All right, sorry, I'm trying to get to the comments here. It's flipping around, and yeah, James. James definitely said that I had the phone enforcement. I had the phone cord placement correct. All right, so let's see here. Just picture your customers with phone, doors, route switch, plus video being forced to factory reset the full unit to fix an issue with a single service. Yeah, the Ubiquity's got a real problem in support right now, and I don't know what it is. I have some insight into that because I used to talk to some of the managers and product managers and things like that, but that whole layer is pretty much gone, and that's fine. That's fine. So I just got this interesting thing. I just got this interesting thing that said YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. So I don't know if I'm going to have to block a kid. Hold on a second. Let me, I don't know if I can mute this. Hold on. My son obviously didn't get my snaps. They must be doing whatever. Interesting. So if it's not smooth, definitely let me know. The little preview window on YouTube seems to be a little smooth, but not sure what's going on there. Yeah, so we always keep bunches of the handset cords because they get ruined, they get stretched. Yeah, the super users, I think, over at Ubiquity are actually contractually not allowed to say anything bad at all about the company, not even behind closed doors. I literally think that they like sew the rose-colored glasses onto their heads. And that's really too bad, because we got to be able to have constructive criticism instead of reinforcing horrible ideas. Let's see here. Yeah, Unky Joe, I'm super excited about the SNOM phones. So one thing that you'll know when you work with me is I'm always testing all kinds of kit, all kinds of gear, because you know, even though James and I were 100%, you know, I'm a GrandStream certified expert. There are like 5 of us in North America. Even though I have that, I still experiment with other gear because I might find something that's a better fit for something that a client's wanting to do. So I've got SNOM phones, I've got Clearly IP phones, I've got Fanville phones, I've got Cisco phones, I've got GrandStream phones, I've got some other phones on the way. They reached out, I can't remember exactly what they are, but we've got all kinds of phones. I mean, we're testing everything. We're testing everything because if GrandStream goes and pulls a Ubiquity on us, you know, we're gonna have to be able to offer our clients something that still works. That's why we also still maintain and support other PBX systems. It's not like we've shut it out. So Oliver Quinn, Telnex is TELNYX. Let your salesperson know that I sent you. I don't know if that'll get you anything. I'm supposed to get something out of that, but I've not seen anything from all the customers that I've hooked up. But doesn't really bother me because the pricing at the end of the day and the features and how they treat the customers, that's really what matters to me, and they are killing it. Their customer support is fantastic. Unky Joe just said, I have a 6202 here with a client that a client sold back to me as they could not live without FOP. I'm not sure what FOP is. God, there's so many acronyms and everything. Like, we sound like we're like doctors, like, oh, we gotta open up the FOP. And I probably, if I thought about it long enough, Unky Joe would know what FOP is.
Unky Joe, what is FOP?
And yeah, let me know. So, so you eBayed your UDM Pro. That's interesting. Cecil says, I would have at least 4 parking lots for pizza restaurant for weekends and evenings. So Cecil, right now they have POTS lines, and probably with the way the POTS lines are configured, because they've just got simple phones plugged into them, they probably don't have call waiting or any of that stuff. So it's one line, one call. So I don't know how much of that I would get into. I would probably have 2 parking lots, but for 2 POTS lines, I probably wouldn't do 4. And if we're going to get into Oliver, this is important. This is kind of directed at you. If you are going to do the VoIP and you're going to set up more parking lots. So here's the thing. Once you go to Telnex, if you port your numbers, so on that POTS line, if it doesn't have call waiting, you can only make and receive 1 call at a time. With Telnex, each of those flexi trunks is going to have 10 call paths available to it. So you could potentially take or have 10 calls. Now, we can adjust that so that doesn't happen. But you could have 10 people ringing in on line 1. So in that case, you'd want a larger screen on your phone, and you would want a parking lot. I would probably go with like a queue system, like an automated queue. If it were me, if I was going to open it up to 10 and I'm selling pizza, like I've got somebody on there and like we're like blowing through the queue, like, and that way too, it makes sure that, you know, the 5th caller that called in stays 5th in line and doesn't get to order their pizza before the people, you know, the person who's been on hold. So definitely think about that. So I don't resell VoIP service. I only sell configuration of the gear. I don't even handle the hardware. I hook you up with my reseller. You buy at what would be my cost. And this is directed at Rodney Eggleston. Asked, when you resell the VoIP service, do you have to charge for the taxes and I am not a VoIP reseller. I hook you directly up with the end company. They handle all that. I only make my money off of configuring the equipment. Let's see here. Hey, Ben, how you doing? Yeah, pizza over Ethernet. That would be awesome. What is wrong with Unify 6? They still have the VLAN problem, and there's lots of little things that I've had conversations, and I'm going to start a list then, just so that you don't think that I'm talking out of my rear. There's so many little things that aren't even on the known issues that are popping up that, I mean, people are really tired of it. Cajoling Technologies asked, with MAC address VLANs, what if someone spoofs the MACs? That is a good question. I'm not 100% sure that the client is worried about that in this case. We are just doing it to really deal with IoT devices that can't do 802.1x or can't use a splash page. You know, that's always a possibility, but you have to weigh the risks and, you know, is it really a risk? Sure. I mean, yes, it is a risk, right? But is somebody going to go to this guy's house out in the middle of wherever and do that? Probably not. And there are ways to beat MAC spoofing as well. The U6 Lite is okay at best in testing, but to be fair, it is in beta. So I can't, you know, because Ubiquity does send me gear, I can't talk about things that are in the beta store. You know, Ubiquity, you know, they tell you cannot, you know, we don't want you talking about this stuff, and that's fine. But I have other vendors such as Cambium who want me to talk about their beta products, who are excited for me to talk about their beta products, and I am more than happy to do that. So we're going to get into that in just a second. That is the Cambium Wi-Fi 6 AP. Hey, Denmark in the house. How you doing, Jorgen? All right. Yeah, so Unky Joe is absolutely right. There is nothing for out-of-warranty parts. So Terry Johnson calling in from Michigan says everything looks fine. Sean said I had a buffer. That's because you stopped running on the treadmill, Sean, so your internet slowed down, and so it had to buffer. Let's see. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, I still like Ubiquity. I don't take it as like I'm abandoning the company. Oh, look at this. You got my snap?
I did.
Ah.
I was
All right,
sleeping.
stand by. Stand by. All right, so this is Nyx, and this is our Silver Lab. She is the cutest thing in the world, and she is our new she is our new mascot. And our other dog that you won't get to see on camera is our security system, part of our security system. But they are getting along fabulously. So Nyx, say hi to everybody. Everybody say hi to Nyx. And all right, it is time for her to go. Probably needs to go outside and go potty. William, thank you for bringing her down. Got her? Thanks, bud. Such a good dog. All right, so yeah, make sure you're smashing that like button, but don't take it as I still think Ubiquity gear works in a lot of we still deploy a lot of edge routers, a lot of edge switches, things like that. However, did you notice? Let's go on over to the Ubiquity site, and part of my podcast is going to talk about a lot of these things with these companies and some of the changes and things that happen that people may not notice, right? But check this out. So if you are over on the Ubiquity site now, check out the categories. Okay? So there used to be like an edge category, right? But now it's called UNMS. So I have a feeling, and I don't know any more than anybody else, I have a feeling that they're going to take all the stuff that was edge and it's all going to be called UNMS. And you've seen, I can't talk about the stuff that's in the beta store, but go check it out. But I think that that's what you are going to see here is you are going to see edge fold into this new UNMS thing, and they can do what they want. They'll ruin sales, they'll ruin customers, and that's fine. That's cool. It's their business. I'm not going to tell them what to do, but I will tell you that people have had enough. People have had enough. I'm seeing the dollars that are being pulled away from that company. And I can tell you that I am not the only vendor who's seeing those dollars pulled away from the company. So they do what they want. We'll see what happens with their stock price and all that stuff. But I still, like I said, they still do a lot of stuff really well, and a lot of stuff really works. I just wish some of this fringe stuff, I don't think that the access kit, I'm going to just be honest with you, I don't think that this access kit was well thought out. This is a life safety thing. And when you get into life safety, are you going to trust, a company that pulls the plug on products so quickly, doesn't have consistent support, and things like that, plus doesn't understand the laws and everything that it takes to make these a successful deployment and be within code? I guarantee you none of that was thought about. There is nobody at Ubiquity that understands the code in all 50 states where this is going to be installed, in the countries where this is going to be installed. They just made this product that they know will open a door, and they're going to sell it, and people are going to buy it, and there are going to be issues. And I don't know that I can support that. USG, Unified Switch, APs, I'm all about it. Edge router, edge switch, let's do it. Access, phones, protect, I'm just, and I've got a UNVR4 that they sent me that I'm going to do a video on. I'm just not, some of these things make me really leery because I have to have the best interest of the viewers. I have to have the best interest of the customers. And I'm not just going to do a video to try to sell you something if I don't believe in it. And they're going to have to make a believer out of me. For me, there's too many issues with Unify Access. All right. Let's see here. David G, there are a lot of alternatives to Ubiquity, and we're going to talk about that. You're going to see a lot of that over the next 6 months to a year out of the channel. Let's see here. Chris Fellows says, can you power a Rocket AC with a USW24 PoE? I can't get mine to power up without using the PoE injector. So if it is like a first gen Unify switch, you should be able to turn on the passive PoE, because I believe the Rocket AC is passive PoE. So go into the port, go to the PoE, and turn on 24 volt passive. Do not plug in anything into that port that is not 24 volt passive once you turn that on. But Chris Fellows, that should get you up and going if it's that generation of switch where you can still do that. Flash operator panel. Yeah. So, Unky Joe, there are some alternatives for GrandStream. We should talk about that. So, yeah, SOP, standard operating procedure. Yeah. And then somebody, Unky Joe, you're going to love this. Somebody used effing overpriced for FOP. That's hilarious. And the thing is, yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now. So let's see here. Going back to the comments, you guys are awesome this morning. Sean says, yes, queue versus parking lots. Yeah, cajoling Tech says, you're making this fluffy boy very hungry with this pizza talk. I am hungry, and there's a place around here that makes a breakfast pizza that is awesome, and I got to go to UPS, so there may be a chance that there's a piece of breakfast pizza in my my future here. And of course, Silas is making a reference, Fluffy as a taco man, not pizza. I think you're talking about Gabriel Iglesias. And if that's who you're talking about, Silas, he is a hilarious comedian. And if you haven't checked him out, check him out on the YouTube machine. It's Gabriel Iglesias. He is hilarious. David says, Unify was known for a solid, cost-effective product. If this changes and they are going to be known for buggy and unsupported products, yes, it is going to be bad for their company. Sean says he's going to be running in about 10 minutes, so his internet speed should get back up and going there. Yeah, the dog, she is great, and potty training is going well. Thank God for that. Yeah, and Patrick, you're right. She's going to be a huge dog, right? So Mom, believe it or not, and the vet was like, whoa. So we picked her up from a breeder in the Missouri area, but Mom is... pre-pregnancy weight was 96 pounds. Name was Annie Oakley, which I thought was a cool name. And Mom was 98 pounds. Dad was 86 pounds. And his name was Black Tie Affair. I think those are really cool names for dogs. We named her Nix, but her paws are almost as big as my hand. Now, I do have kind of smaller hands. Not super tiny, not like super tiny hands like the creepy hands you see. But her paw is like, yeah, she's going to be huge. So let's see here. Fusion says, use case for edge router over USG. When you need multiple WAN IPs, that's the first thing off the top of my head. When you want control over your device and it doesn't have to be tethered to a controller to make those changes, I could just keep going on and on and on. And Tony's right. You know, Ubiquity is still a great solution for residential networks that want more than big box routers. That is correct. And, you know, if you are an MSP in the residential space, then absolutely Ubiquity, you can throw a USG in there, switches, and everything's going to work fine. It's going to work fine in that solution, and we will still support it. We will still install it in that solution. Let's see here. Bill Green says $500 per door and no hardware for the door. No, sir, no chance. Yeah. Plus, you have to have a UDM Pro. You have to have a UDM Pro. My Google Voice just blew up. Let's see who this is. So, my buddy Paul, who owns a consulting company over in New York, says, you sexy son of a beep, get that beard under control. Yeah, it is. It probably is going to need a trim. But what I'm thinking about is for Halloween, I was thinking about just shaving half of it off and then doing something crazy. I don't know. What I'd really like is the Johnny Depp dreadlocks from Pirates of the Caribbean and go as a pirate. But I don't know that that's going to work out. But, yeah, the beard is I thought about growing the beard, just letting it completely grow until this whole pandemic thing blows over. But I don't know if that's going to work out for me or not. Usually I don't start growing this until October, November, and then around Christmas, this is what it looks like. And I actually did shave up the cheek lines and I trimmed my lip this morning, but we'll see how it works out, Paul. I'm glad you're here, and you and I need to get on the schedule for this week, so make sure you shoot me an email. You can't. Somebody says you can't even buy an Edge router Infinity anymore. All distributors are saying they're end of life, and Ubiquity is saying it is not true yet. There is no date for release again. So I just had this conversation with a Canadian customer, where they've got a network that's all connected through the telco. It's kind of like MPLS, but they asked about putting an Infinity in, and I was like, look, we can't get them. And so my ISP here, believe it or not, my ISP here actually reached out for help with Ubiquity products, the GPON products, and the Infinity, because they opened a site down in Florida. And so we did some bartering, which is awesome. So I basically don't have an internet bill for the rest of the year, which is fantastic. But so down in Florida, they're doing the GPON setup, and I help them configure the gear down there. Well, they want a hot standby router. None of us can get Infinities at all. So now they're going to order a MikroTik, and we're going to have the MikroTik sitting on the shelf ready to go in case the Infinity goes out. I want to know what the heck is going on with the Edge router Infinity myself. I'm not sure what's going on. I was told in the forums by one of the employees several months ago that new stock was going to hit. Apparently, several months ago, a little new stock hit, and then boom, just sold out, and nothing else is happening. So we got to get those Infinities back in, because those things, if you're using those as a 10 gig cord router and it goes out, then you are hurting, Let's see here. Yeah, Unify, great for home network. Steven says, what would some reasons be for upgrading my Edge Router X to something like the Edge Router 4? Really, unless you're getting an internet speed that you don't think the Edge Router X can handle, or you're trying to do, the Edge Router X actually has a switch chip built into it. So I think it's a great router. I think it's great in 2020. So if you're not having any specific issues where you need to switch from the Edge Router X to the Edge Router 4, don't do it. If you don't want your Edge Router X, send it here. I can't keep them in stock. I can't keep them on the shelf. And I don't sell them, but I loan them to people, or if somebody has one go down, I'll configure it and send it out. I can't keep them. They're great product. They're great product. TP-Link, I actually have a new affinity for TP-Link, not necessarily for the wireless stuff, but for their switching hardware. Their switching hardware has a lifetime warranty. Here's the thing. You can pay a boatload of money for a Ubiquity new switch that has a 1-year warranty and no tech support. Or I could pay less money for a TP-Link that has guaranteed replacement and no support, right? So, you got to weigh your options. But Kevin Brad, BRADTS. I have a problem with getting a site-to-site IPsec VPN with the OP2 ports for the VPN networking, but traffic won't flow, and I'm using pfSense. OP2 ports. So is that did you configure that then, I'm guessing, for WAN too? Shoot me an email about that. That one's probably going to be a little bit harder to troubleshoot on the air. Jacob Johnson says, pizza as a service. Jacob, there's your $1 million idea. In fact, if you look at the way Papa John's actually started, it started with one pizza oven and all this other stuff. Jacob, if you had a pizza recipe, you are out in a remote area like me where you could probably clean up. Let's see. Alonzo's at a diner now. Yeah, Fluffy is hilarious. So what do I think, of UDM Pro versus pfSense or OpenSense? I'm probably going to deploy pfSense or OpenSense over the UDM Pro unless there's a specific use case for the UDM Pro. So let's say the customer has Protect, wants to keep Protect and all that stuff. It all depends. It's we can do spreadsheets all day, which I love those spreadsheets where we're all comparing things. I do them myself. Other people do those spreadsheets, and we need that. You got to have some, you got to be able to juxtapose these things and make the correct decisions. Let's see here. So key system functions. Yeah, so a lot of people, when they move away from an old key system or an older, smaller PBX where you actually see each line, a shared line appearance on a phone, and they move to an IP PBX, they freak out. You can turn on shared line appearance on a Grandstream, but it severely limits the function of your voice over IP system, which is not what you want to do, right? So that's why we use those parking lots to emulate that. So let's see here. So Kay Leach asks, any thought on Arachnus equipment? No, I've seen it. Nobody's reached out to let me demo any of it, but I surely would if they had it. Silas says, it makes you think that UI has just employed some greenhorn marketing clown. No, I do not believe that Ubiquity's marketing person is greenhorn or a clown. I don't know if he's listening to this, but several of us are in touch with their main marketing person. And no, I don't think he's a clown. I think it's internal politics at its best. So, yeah, I don't like the Sophos firewalls anymore. I had configured one for a client like down in Jamaica, and the VPN was literally, it was a 2020, right? It was a garbage fire, a dumpster fire. It was a mess, and it made us look stupid. So I will never deploy another Sophos firewall because the VPN was not stable at all. Unky Joe says, I am now using the Netgear Pro series for PoE switching. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You saw that 4300 they sent me? That thing competes with, you know, some of the Cisco stuff, and that's our core 10 gig for the UC3200 for the new Synology and for a couple other pieces of gear that I got that I think you're going to like. Let's see here. We're using Edge Router Infinity in front of the USG at all 3 campuses. Yeah. Let's see. Cajoling says, I went from an Edge Router X to an Edge Router 4 and really didn't see much of a difference. Yeah, you may not. You really may not. Yeah, MikroTik makes good stuff. So the thing is about MikroTik is MikroTik will actually, they'll make you learn their language, the way that they do things, just like any other vendor. Some vendors like Ubiquity will throw you a softball with some of the things. And MikroTik will make you learn networking. So a lot of times people will say, oh, the learning curve is steep. It is, and they don't want to learn because they don't really understand networking, and they don't want to really get into it that deep. They just want to, you know, pump out a product. But I mean, if you know MikroTik, it is awesome. All right, so I wouldn't deploy the Netgear APs. So anything that has to be cloud connected, you know, if you've been following me for a while, I have a real hate relationship with cloud connected, everything that has to be cloud connected. Unky Joe, your comment got caught up by the filter. I'm going to go ahead and show it. So after I'm done live streaming, Unky Joe's going to have a live stream over on his channel. Make sure you go check out Unky Joe. All right, let's see. Excuse me. All right, so I got a couple devices sent over that you're going to see some videos on. But they sent some hard drives for the devices, and the box showed up with these, and I was like, "What is this? This does not look like a hard drive." So this is a Yada Master 3.5-inch hard drive protection box. I have never seen these before in my life, but the hard drives for the device showed up like this. So it's got a little clip over here, and watch me drop this hard drive. This thing made it all the way from who knows where. And inside the cases, I got 6 of these. These are 6 terabyte Iron Wolf Pros. So they're not the standard Iron Wolf. They are the Iron Wolf Pro. But then inside of this hard drive case is like this. If you're old like me and you have to have those things in your shoes so your back doesn't hurt, Sean, it's coming for you, brother. But that's what this is. It's like a protective... But it's like a protective gel padding inside there, and then the hard drives are in here. Oh, and I put it in there wrong, and so I'm always learning. Today I learned how to put a hard drive into this protective box. So I just thought this is interesting that they ship the hard drives in this. I've never seen this. I'm still not going to like drop it on the ground or throw it on the ground because it's still a hard drive, right? But I just thought you'd like to see that. That's like really super interesting that they sent those, and I'm definitely gonna hang on to those. All right, let me go back to the comments real quick. Let's see. I can't remember which model that was, Sean, on the Sophos. I just know that. I try to remember. It's been like 2 years ago since we did that, and I've just not looked back. But Sean Woods says, Willie, I know we'll be covering Wi-Fi 6 in this stream, but it might be worth bringing up the fact that many of the APs are recommending a multi-gig, 2.5 or 5 gig or 10 gig port for the newer APs. And that is absolutely correct. And that's something when I do the full deployment video on this AP, excuse me, that we're going to cover. And I'm going to show you that here in just a second. So Sean is absolutely right there. Tony from Quick Tech Solutions says, same here, went from an Edge Router X SFP to Edge Router 6P, better specs, no noticeable difference in networking performance. Absolutely correct. Yeah, Unky Joe, anytime, man. Us smaller creators, we all got to stick together. And then when you guys all blow up, and just hopefully you don't forget me. All right, so yeah, the hard drive is ready for the war. Yeah, the Iron Wolf Pros, so those come with like a 5-year data recovery deal and some other stuff. So we're going to be running those. The application for those is very interesting, and I need to hurry up and get it hooked up and get a video out. But no, cajoling tech, that is not a Rona cough. It is fall in the People's Republic of Illinois. So, all right. Let's see. All right. Yes, I am gelling. All of my WAN connections are 10 gig loops, and I feel like I'm locked into the Edge Router Infinity. Yeah, take a look at the MikroTik. There are some good 10 gig MikroTik routers for sure. Cecil says, are you using the GWN cloud for your GWN deployments? No, we are not. We are either using the GWN-7 to manage the access points. We are using a master or a leader and a backup leader deployment on site with the APs themselves, or we are rolling the actual GWN on-site appliance. So I'm super excited. I can't wait for they actually have the GDMS, which is supposed to be on-prem, and so we'll see. So let's talk about this AP. So this showed up. I'm super excited about my relationship with Cambium. They just make a solid product, man. And with them, you can have CN Maestro. You can use their free CN Maestro web-based solution, or you can deploy CN Maestro on site. We are going to deploy CN Maestro on site, but you can preload these APs, or you can get on site. You can scan them, load them in. It's absolutely beautiful. But this is their 2x2 Wi-Fi 6 AP. This is 802.11ax, and you can manage it from XMS Cloud or CN Maestro. So for those of you who didn't know, Cambium bought, who was it? It was the Zurus. So you can manage this on either cloud, which is very interesting. But let's take a look at what's in the box. So first you get some propaganda. And it says, the intended use, the Cambium Networks Enterprise Wi-Fi products are intended for use delivering indoor wireless LAN data networks. The XV2x2 is a dual radio design with internal antennas. The 802.11ax standard is more efficient than previous generations. Let's spice this up a little bit.
The 802.11ax standard is more efficient than previous generations, providing performance enhancements, network segmentation, and improved battery life. And then, this gives you all of the standard propaganda stuff.
And, all right, let's see. So that's that. And then you get, connecting what matters. All right, then, so the APs now, they didn't used to do this. They now come in a plastic bag, which is totally expected. Here's the other thing. I didn't know what to expect. So inside the package, I was like, okay, maybe there'll be a PoE injector, maybe there'll be, and because of Sean's point, that's why I was kind of wondering, like, what else is in the box, right? So if we take this box apart, the only other thing in this box, is the mounting hardware. So there's the bracket, there's the screws, all that good stuff. So there is no PoE injector that comes with this. It's got this really nice, all right, focus.
Focus.
All right, so there's this really nice covering on here, and I'm going to leave this on here for now. And the reason I'm going to leave this on here, and I think a lot of other APs should, should come with this, because as you're installing this and your hands get dirty, or your gloves get dirty or whatever, and then you're touching this nice white surface on this AP, you're going to leave fingerprints, you're going to leave all kinds of stuff. So I think that all AP manufacturers that are producing white APs should have this on the top. This is awesome because I hate it when I'm at an access point and I've got something on my hands. And don't tell me that you're all walk on water perfect and you don't get stuff on your hands and you don't get it on the equipment, because I don't believe you at all. All right, so anyway, you can see the Cambium logo. You've got status LED there. Then if we flip this around, you can see we've got a USB port. We've got the reset button over here, but then the other thing, I'm trying to figure out how to get you to see this, right? Okay, there it is. So it is Ethernet 2.5 gig PoE. So this has the 2.5 gig port built into it, right? So, Sean, I need you to let me know, either Sean, anybody on the live stream, what I don't know, because I haven't plugged this in. If I plug this into a 10 gig PoE switch, is this going to negotiate if the switch doesn't say multi-gig specifically? If the switch doesn't say multi-gig, 2.5, 5, or 10, and I plug this in to a 10 gig PoE switch, is this going to negotiate at a gig? I don't know, but we're going to figure it out. So it's a good thing I have a 2.5 gig switch down here. Now the only other thing that I need to do, okay, Sean, so Sean says it's going to negotiate at a gig. So here's the other thing that I'm asking you, Sean. If I use a 10 gig PoE adapter as a pass-through, is that 10 gig PoE adapter going to hamstring me to 1 gig even though I'm going into a 2.5 gig port? Riddle me that, Batman. So,
I've lost me Lucky Charms.
All right, so I hope you like that, Joe Trelli over at Cajoling Tech. Let's see. Hey, Tony, thanks for being here, buddy. I hope everything is well at home. Shoot me an email. We'll catch up. And I'm looking forward to that live stream on November 14th. I think it is going to be a blast because it's totally unscripted and we've got personalities all over the board, right? So we're going to see how this works out for the tech quartet. But yeah, these access points look really nice. Let's see here. Yeah, there are plenty of Ubiquity APs with fingerprints on them. Absolutely. And Grandstream and. So Sean's guessing, but he's got like a 95% confidence level that even if I use a 10 gig PoE injector, that it's still going to negotiate at 1 gig, even though the back end of the PoE injector is plugged into a 2.5 gig. So anyway, we're actually going to be able to do some Wi-Fi 6 testing. So Small Hands Smells Like Cabbage. What movie is this from?
That would be Austin Powers.
All right, so hey, Sweden in the house. I'm glad everybody made it here this morning. So thoughts on mist APs? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Juniper that bought Mist, or was it Extreme? One of the larger companies bought Mist. I do believe, and they're supposed to be like completely. They're supposed to be like completely AI driven, is from what I understand. So I've been buying a fair amount of gear myself for testing and for deployment. Mist was kind of on my list. I think though, if I sit through a webinar, I think I can get a free AP. So I'm thinking about doing that. I'm thinking about doing that for Meraki as well. I can actually sit through several Meraki webinars and I could get a full stack. So I'm thinking about doing that. Would you all be interested in Meraki videos? You're definitely going to get Juniper switching videos. I let my Juniper certs lapse several years ago, but switching is one thing that I was expert level proficiency in with Juniper. It's been a while, but I want to get back into it. Langwar asks, Willie, are you going to smoke a turkey for Thanksgiving? Absolutely, we're going to smoke a turkey for Thanksgiving. We're on the list. We told them that we need at least a 23-pound turkey because we're inviting all the family over. So, my mom and her boyfriend and my brother and his wife and his 2 kids and my wife's grandmother, and then all of us, we're inviting everybody. So yes, we are definitely going to be smoking a turkey for Thanksgiving. Hey, Joe, thanks for the shout out. Yeah, there was 105 of us on here. If you haven't hit that like button, do that. It lets YouTube know that even though I am making them money, I am making YouTube money. There's no doubt about that. Because you're all here, you're all seeing other types of ads. But, it lets them know, even though they're not sharing those advertising dollars with me, that you are still interested in my content. So definitely hit that thumbs up. Yeah, and Sean's working with Meraki. I've done some Merakis and things like that. Sean asks, what's the next best Ubiquity alternative for cloud managing switches and APs, on or off? So the thing that you run into is that not everybody has the full stack right now. I will tell you that GrandStream has switches coming out. So the only thing they're not going to have is network attached storage. And I love GrandStream, but I don't want them doing network attached storage. I want them to do the things that they're doing as well as they're doing them now, if not better. So let's leave network attached storage to Synology and their the routers that they've got. Let's leave it to QNAP, and let's leave some of that stuff to the people that do that. But yes, so GrandStream will have the full stack. Cisco Small Business has that. Cambium doesn't have routers, but they do have switches. Their switches are very expensive. MikroTik you can manage end to end. It's not completely like what you're used to with Unify, but you can do it. Meraki's pricing is through the roof, but you can do it with Meraki. So I feel like I've worn out I feel like I've wore out my welcome here this morning. I do have to hop in the shower and then get going. So I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. Remember to give me a thumbs up if you like this, and
remember, if you need IT consulting, go to williehowe.com. Fill out that contact form. If you want to support the channel, affiliate links are down below. You don't have to use those. It is appreciated when you do. It kicks a couple bucks over to the channel. And as always, I'm Willie. I want to thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video.